There we go. It's got the early morning shot here of this buildings on the waterway, and I thought, look, the reflections in the water. It's a beautiful scene. So get started. Over here, I'm going to work on a canvas panel. This is Frederick's archival watercolor canvas board. I'm going to try that this morning. It's something a little bit new this morning, and I've got those available on my website, everettwatercolors.com. From Everett's Watercolors travel set with my basic palette. Just the primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, and my two brushes, a flat brush, half-inch, and a number 6 round. And got my palette in a bottle dot sprayer, Everett's Watercolors, sold exclusively on everettwatercolors.com. I'll use that to wet my paints. So I see the sun coming up there, really nice. So what I'm going to do is capture this this building here. Let me draw a few lines in here. Okay, that's my composition. Really just going to capture the building there. Okay, so it's just a rough sketch to get started on the panel. And let's take another view of what I'm looking at. Oh, move up here, take a look at the view. So I'm just going to get that one section right in there of the building. Just that part there on the left side, and the little reflection in the water. Okay, I'm going to get started painting. Watercolor canvas, again, don't need much water in the brush. I have a paper towel in my hand here to keep the brush kind of dry, just keep it moist. And I'm going to start in the background. So I'm going to mix up dark green. So I'm mixing a little bit of ultramarine blue with lemon yellow. dark green. That blue mixed in with the yellow. So I mix my greens here with the primaries. Blue and yellow gives me green. And I'm going to go back here, put that background in. Start out with a light color. I can darken it up as I go along, but I just want to just kind of block in the colors a little bit so I know where I'm going. Again, I keep the brush fairly dry because, you know, canvas, you don't need a lot of water on it. You just need enough to get the paint to spread the paint on it. That looks pretty good. I want to get a little bit darker, I think, so I'll put a little more blue into that green. Just a little, because I want a dark background. A little more blue. Yeah, that's better. That's a good start. And it'll dry a little bit lighter. Actually, on canvas, it doesn't dry as light as it does on paper. So you pretty well, when you put something down on canvas, it's pretty close to what color you'll get when it dries. It doesn't lighten up too much in canvas. So that's a nice start there. You know, just going to get the background here of behind the building. And it also gives me a little practice here on the brush strokes and on the canvas, get a feel for it. Now you'll notice when it starts to dry, you lose the texture in the brush stroke because it melds. It smooths out on canvas. It doesn't act the same as paper. So you have to get a little bit used to that, and then come up with techniques that'll give you that. I want these to be trees back there, so I'm going to have to go back in and put a little bit of brush stroke there. So now this is I'm on an angle, so I'm going to put in just going to be a rough painting sketch today. Painting outdoors and Plein Air is a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I love to get out at least every weekend and do something. Yeah, it's coming along. Okay, so I'll come down here and get this little building extension, little shed or something on here, little storage unit on the back of this main building. Big old boat in the water, and that's going to change the flow of the water. You'll see that when a boat goes by or something, it changes the water reflection. Believe me, you'll see that in a moment. I'll show it to you. This is the grass. This is the grass in front of the building, getting that there. Okay, just blocking in the colors. Try and keep that green nice and dark, so it'll show up on the painting the way I want it to. No grass in there. There's another boat coming by. You hear that noise in the background. A couple of yachts going by. Now you'll see how the painting dry. I mean, the paint dries on the paper on the canvas. It dries. I mean, it melts real fast. That's how it works on this watercolor canvas. So this watercolor canvas is I'm using watercolor, and you have to get used to it. A little bit different than paper, but it does a good job. I really enjoy painting on canvas. Gives me a nice smooth cover. And this Frederick's canvas is really good. Now let's get this other building back here. Again, I'm just kind of doing a rough sketch here now. The plein air experience is just the idea of getting outdoors and enjoying the weather, enjoying the scenery. And there's another boat going by. They're going by today, so that the locks have opened up early this morning. Yeah. Another boat coming. A lot of boats going by today. We're gonna change that water reflection. I'm glad I got a picture of it in the beginning. Okay. Now the reflection in the water is going to also have that green background, and so this part over here is going to be green in the water. Right, this section right here. Just capture it. Again, just going to get blocking in some of the colors here. This is going to be the building, so they're not going to. That reflection is going to be whatever the building color is. And up here, I got to get this section. This comes in. This little low shed here. Okay, that roughs that part in. Background. Again, I'll have to darken it up a little bit, but at least I got the colors in there. You can see the water when I got the panel vertical, so the water is kind of dripping down. And don't want that to get carried away too much. But it'll just flow down here and just stay there where it is. I'll leave it alone. Okay. Now the color of the building is silver, so I'm going to use just a little bit of pale blue. There's no sky in this particular, because I don't have the. Oh, see, you can see, already see it dripping off. But see, in canvas, it's very easy to wipe up. Now I got too much water in the brush, so it's starting to run down a little bit. So I'll pick up some of that extra. So I'll just take a dry brush and pick it up. Over here, it's also dripping a little bit on the building. Don't want to do that. I'm picking up a little bit extra water brush. Okay, let that dry a little bit now. So as the boats came in, you can see now the water's got like a rough. It was nice and smooth there when the water wasn't moving. Now the water's moving because the boats went by. So we'll have to compensate for that when I get down to that part of the painting. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit. Now you hear the geese there. The wild geese are out there today, flying around. Okay. Well, done. I mixed up a little bit of gray, bluish gray. I got used a little bit of ultramarine blue. Some I got Chinese white in here. I mixed a little bit of Payne's gray. I made up a little light, a mixture gray in here, and that's the color I'm going to make the building. Okay. I'm going to make this a little painting the building structure. This is all metal. It's like a corrugated aluminum or something like that, made out of that. So this is like a metallic. I made them up a color of metallic spray, and my color. Again, you experiment with the colors that you have. Like I say, I just got a basic palette here, just the primary, with a little bit of white and black, and I got some burnt sienna and things like that. But just, those are just the colors I use to add to the primaries to give me a color I want to use. So I mixed up one here. Here, it's good exercise, mixing the colors that match a little bit what you see. Train the eye to observe the colors. So I'm just kind of blocking this in here, the color of this building. And it's pretty close. It's kind of a silvery color, tin, metallic color. And I might leave the door a little bit lighter, just to give a little change here. And the windows are a little bit darker too, so they'll be darkened up. So but I'm going to get the blocking in the main shape here. And what I usually do when I finish this painting, when I edit the film, I usually put a picture of the structure so you can see. Also, look at what I'm painting also. So you don't see it now when I'm painting, but you'll see it. You'll see it in the final video. Okay, let's see. That's got to dry a little bit, and I'm going to work on this one over here. This building's got a little bit darker because it's back. So what I'm going to do is add put a little bit of Payne's Gray and darken it up just slightly. So adding a little bit of Payne's Gray just to darken that color up. You notice I'm using very little water because this is on this canvas. You don't want too much water in your brush; it'll start flowing on you. So use a little drier paint, a little drier brush paint when you paint on canvas. Otherwise, the paint will spread too quickly. It'll start running on you. So that's what I'm practicing today also. And this is just really a good exercise. And just getting out and painting something, practicing the colors. Practicing the shapes. Let's see. I'll make this little back area here is also a little bit darker colors. It's not in shadow, but it's behind this other building. And side of this building is a little bit darker. Not much difference. It's the same material. I'm going to shade that down even a little bit more. Adding a little more Payne's Gray to that just to darken up slightly. Separate the two buildings, or two sections. I got those windows, and I got a doorway over here, so block that in. Just blocking it in. Just using the 1/2-inch flat brush, just blocking in major shapes. Okay, that part there. Now, get the reflection in the water. It's right now the water is still a little bit stirred up because of the or the boat's going by, but I can go ahead, at least I know what the color is like. So I'm going to go ahead and just go put the reflection into the water. And, you know, reflection is not a perfect duplicate, but it, you know, show, at least the color and the shapes will show up. But the rougher I make it down here, the more believable it is as a reflection. And I can make it a little bit darker in the water from the actual building itself. I gotta mix up a little bit more paint. So there's adding a little bit of that, a little bit of white. It's got Chinese white, a little bit of Payne's gray, and a touch of blue, ultramarine blue. Gives me that silvery look, color. Again, just experimenting with it. Experimenting with the colors. This is that little shed over here is also a reflection in the water. Get that in there. I'm going to use horizontal strokes here as more reflections in the water, just to break it up. This comes down to here, and this section here can be a little bit darker. Now I'm going to put those windows in. I'm going to use a darker mix. Using broad brush strokes, covering the canvas. Okay. All right, now what I think I'll do, I'll change brushes. I'm going to use my number 8 round and put for more detail. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use a darker mix. I used a little bit of Payne's gray now mixed in with it. I'm going to put the windows in over here. And these are just to capture the kind of the shape. I'm not going to worry about getting it exactly, but I know there's 2 windows over here. And I'm going to use the dark, a little darker than what the actual windows are, but I want them to stand out, separate from the building. And I'm going to put an edge. I'm going to leave the doorway white, and just to make it different. But I'm going to also put a little bit of edge on it, just to get the shape of it, the doorway. And there's a little darker top on this shed back here, a little shed. We'll put that in. So I don't want to touch up that too much. I've got these windows over here. Now this window over here, I'm going to make it a little bit different. Not different, but just indicating I got a window over here. I photographs I take, I can get detail. So all I'm doing is capturing the shapes here now. Because the photograph if I want detail, I can always go back and add detail in from the photograph. But in my plein air sketch, I just like to capture the shape, the essence. Now this window here is got 3 in it, so I'm going to go ahead and just break this down into thirds. This is the third one, and then another one over here. Yeah, and I'll put the doorway in the same way. Just going to trim it up a little bit. Now this one here's got windows in it, so I can add some windows over here, make it a little different. I'll just put the edge of the doorway. Now this is more dominant over here. This is just kind of a secondary shape over here. So I'll make it a little less defined. And I can show I'm going to leave the doorway. Leave it white too. Well, I can also make it different than this one. So I'll do that. Okay. I'll go back with a big brush. and I'll put a darker mix in here for the doorway. Okay, now you can see it got a little extra water in the brush, so it's going to drip down there. Now, if I had a problem, I could always turn it upside down and let the frame flow down the other way. So I can control the paint flow by moving the brush, by taking off of the brush, or moving the canvas board around. So make that a little bit different. Make that a little bit different than this doorway over here. And also the windows, I want to close those off too. Leave these a little bit of shadow on these. And this part back in here is behind this section. Put that in shadow. This section up here, I can put that in shadow right at the front part of this section here. Make this, trying to make the top of the rooftop looking the same on both sides, which is what it should be. And the reflection is a little bit indicated here. I can also put, say, down here in the doorway, I can put down some marks down here in the reflection. Reflection is not as defined as the object itself. These will show over here also on this side. Reflection. You just show a rough outline. I'm painting in reverse, upside down. Just showing a reflection. Okay. Okay, one last thing I want to touch. There's a little chimney on the top. I'll just put that in. So I'll use a little bit of my red. I've used blue and yellow, and now I use a little bit of red in my painting. So this is a little chimney up here. A little chimney on the top of the roof of this little building here. So I'll put that in. Okay. All right. Okay, that's my demonstration today of outdoor painting, plein air, on watercolor canvas. It's just a rough sketch. Just now on canvas, I can also. This is easy to wipe out. I can change things. I can take things off, put them back on. So canvas is very easy to work with in the studio later on, and so forth. So let's take a final photograph for this one. There's a close-up there of the building and the reflection of the water. You know, it's just a rough outdoor sketch, and if I go back and show you the building again, you'll see the reflection is almost back to normal, almost back, but that's what I was trying to capture right there. The little building on the left with a little extension and the reflection of the water. I took the painting back to the studio and did a little cleanup on it. I want to come back here and finish up the waterway edge. That's the view I'm looking at now. So we're adding the water line there at the bottom of the. We'll make it a little darker. So that's the bottom. That's the edge of the water on the waterway for the reflection, and that's what I see.